Good morning, everyone. It looks like I'm live. So since I'm live, sadly, my guest today, the scheduled guest, was not able to make it. I hope that everything is okay. I hope that there's no big issue that is stopping her from being on. So I'm going to freestyle it today, guys. And just give me 1 second. I want to share this broadcast to a couple of other places. So just bear with me for 1 second, if you would be so kind. Let's see here. What we do, and the reason I'm looking down, of course, is because I'm looking to find my broadcast. Here it is. I've got it. And then I open it up, and then I share it. Looks like Amanda Warfield is on. Hey, Amanda, what's good? What's good? Let's just post that to the public. Hey, for fun, let's also post it to my group. All right, the Manny Wolf group. There you go. If you're looking for me, it's going to now be very difficult for you not to find me. I've shared this on my profile, in my group, and here on my page. It's also on YouTube. I thought I would continue tantalizing you guys a little bit with what is Syndication Engine and why should you care? A little background first. I popped up as Amanda got off a call. That's the kind of timing we like. So when this global pandemic, this outbreak, this crazy situation we find ourselves in started, I went through a process, and frankly, I'm still going through a process, as I'm sure many of you are. The process I went through was a little scary because I remember what it felt like at the beginning of the 2008 recession. And I was in construction at that time. And what I did during the 2008 recession was I basically went into denial for a while. In fact, I went into denial for too long, and it cost me tremendously. Now, I don't know what I could have done differently being in construction in those circumstances. I didn't have enough reserves to weather the storm or anything like that. I was a small outfit, and I got chewed up and spit out. But the part that I want to focus on is not the getting chewed up and getting spit out. It's the going into denial. Like that, I look back on that moment, frankly, with embarrassment and shame. It was really, it was a very potent memory for me. So when this all started, I sensed myself kind of going back to that same feeling, and like I've worked very hard in my life to wire myself to look for the positive. And there's a fine line between looking for the positive and being blindly optimistic. And so what I'm reminded of something Viktor Frankl said. He said that when he was in the concentration camps, the optimists were the first ones to go. They were, and that's a horrible thing, but this is what he said. He said only those who had a sense of purpose and meaning and mission beyond being there, he said those were the people that made it. And so remembering that quote and thinking back to 2008, the process I took myself through was a process of not knowing what to do, not knowing what we were grappling with, right? It was just unfolding. I feel like we have a good sense of it now. I think it's going to continue for a while, even after the curve is flattened. And so we've got, look, let's face it, we've got challenges. But I also said to myself, what can I do? The thing I wanted to do differently than last time was I wanted to be proactive. I wanted to be in action. Whereas in contrasting to 2008, I was just sort of catatonic and spaced out. I could never allow myself to do that again. And so not knowing what to actually do and recognizing that there's a huge amount of processing and bandwidth and emotional energy I was expending just grappling with the situation we find ourselves in. So I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to serve in whatever way I can. And if you've been watching me through this whole thing, you know that I've given away trainings. You know that I've started this interview show. There would have been an interview today, but she wasn't able to make it. And you know that, or what you don't know is that behind the scenes, I've said to myself, and I've journaled about this every day, I'm going to give myself time for the idea that fits this moment to come. I'm not going to beat myself up looking at all the people in my social media feed who seem to have, either continued their businesses and their sales as though nothing happened, or they seem to have latched on to a great pivot that fits the moment that we find ourselves in, all that stuff. I'm not going to sort of pummel myself with comparison. That's basically what it came down to. I'm going to allow the idea to come through in its own time. Well, that idea has come through for me. That idea is called the syndication engine. And it's so strange to be in this moment in the world and in this moment in history, and on a personal level, feeling like I have never been this excited. I'm not excited about what's happening out there, of course, but I am excited about, well, the syndication engine. So what is it? Let's talk a little bit about what it is. Let's talk a little bit about what I got going on. What am I cooking up for you with the help and assistance of my fearless team? Big shout out to Glo Ochoa and Rob Waddell. Whoop, whoop. You guys are awesome. You guys are just incredible. By the way, that's my team. For anybody who doesn't know, that's my team. Credit where credit is due. So, if you've been following me, you know that the main thing that I've been working on prior to this moment in time showing up was what's called my Opus program, which is where we guarantee that we'll get you booked to speak. Well, guess what? Not only speaking opportunities, but any kind of congregations of people in general are shutting down. So it seemed a little tone deaf, right? It seemed a little tone deaf, to say the least, to be trying to talk about speaking gigs when events are getting canceled left and right. So I pulled back. I gave myself some time, and I kind of asked the question, like, what are we all trying to do here? I work in an extremely overserved market. I work helping coaches grow, as you know. And it is an extremely overserved market. Now, there's a catch to that overserved. And many of you know this. It's overserved, but at a very low level of quality. Sorry, gang, that's just the reality. Many of you who serve coaches, sadly, you fall into that category. You do. And it's very, very important to me that I don't fall into that category. So whatever I have needs to be of the highest caliber, the highest effectiveness, and the highest quality that I can make it. Had a great talk yesterday on this show with a gal whose whole program or whole service is taking your program, your coaching program, your coaching service, and plugging in an accountability and an effectiveness kind of dimension to it. And I thought, whoa, that's mind-blowing. She doesn't build a new program. She doesn't build a new service. She acts as a liaison between you and your clients to get better results. Isn't that creative? So I started thinking about that. And here's what I came up with. Sorry, that was 2 days ago, the interview I'm referring to. Here's what I came up with. I came up with what I call the syndication engine, which is, what do we all need? And I say all, not all of us. This isn't for everyone. But there are those among us who not only want to build success and create success, but we want to do it in a certain way, right? Some of you out there are content to build a funnel, to sell your coaching, and to get better and better at that, right? You get better and better at marketing and selling whatever it is that you do, and that's fine. But there are some of us who envision a bigger life. There are some of us who just, they see the way they want their life to be in a bigger way. So what do I mean by that? Well, Maybe instead of getting better and better at selling your product, your signature product, and then making a value ladder and basically having a little shop where you do one service and that's it. Maybe you see it the way I do, which is that, well, that is definitely part of it. I want it, like, I want the experience of my business and my business growth to be dynamic. I want it to be exciting. I want to do podcast interviews. I want to speak on stages. I want to be interviewed on the radio. I want to be interviewed on TV. I want to be a brand, right? More than just a guy who sells coaching to coaches. I want to be a brand. Now, why? What's the difference? Well, first, there are a few important differences here. One is to focus on building yourself as an authority brand means you have multiple income streams. So there's that, right? If you build yourself up to the level of being a brand, and I think of Jordan Harbinger from The Art of Charm. If you don't know him, check him out. If you do know him, you'll know what I'm talking about. He started off with a podcast that was in support of a business he started that was in the pickup space, the pickup artist space. Well, it completely grew and evolved past that. And just to give you a sense of how far he came with his podcast, he wound up interviewing Larry King, among others, right? And this didn't happen overnight. But so now Jordan and we don't hang out. I don't mean to paint a picture of me like I know him and we call each other on the phone all the time, but I know enough about him to know that he now lives a very interesting life. He does consulting. He gets invited to speak in interesting places. He has a podcast that is a great, powerful marketing platform for him, right? You see what I'm saying? So whereas if you want to be a coach and focus on just getting that product to market, whatever your coaching product is, then the syndication engine might not be for you. If you want your experience of growing your business and living life while having your business to be far more interesting and dynamic and diverse, if you want multiple streams of income, if it appeals to you, quite frankly, to think of yourself as sort of a niche celebrity, then the syndication engine is definitely for you. Give me just 1 second here, guys. In a nutshell, here's what the syndication engine is. It is as done for you as humanly possible. So let me say that again. It's as done for you as humanly possible. And what we do is we take your content and we repurpose it across every relevant platform. And I know you've heard this all before. I'm not the only game in town for this, but just wait. So let's say you do one Facebook Live like this one here. It gets turned into short videos. It gets turned into a blog post. It gets turned into, it gets formatted for and put on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook. It gets clipped into short videos to go on Instagram. Do you see what I'm saying? Pinterest. We pull quotes from the text. We add them to branded images of you and distribute those across social media. We pull tweets out of it. We turn it into a blog post for you. Hi, Jackie. Are you starting to see what I'm talking about here? So just the piece about content. You make one piece of content a day and you are everywhere. Everywhere. We turn one piece of content that you make each day into an ecosystem of awareness for you. So one piece for you each day, which we help you strategize, by the way, and you have presence on every major platform. Okay, that's step one. Step two, we're going to help you optimize each platform. So we're going to help you get in conversations on LinkedIn, optimize YouTube, optimize Instagram. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, great. So now You've made one piece of content. It might have taken you 30 minutes. It might have taken you an hour. It might have taken you 10 minutes. It's getting turned into, anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 different pieces of content and put out across LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest. You get the idea? Great. Then we're optimizing those platforms. So we're not just leaving it on those platforms. We're helping you to refine each of those channels. Okay, good. Now, you might think to yourself, that's great. That's a great service. I'm interested in that. Well, hold your horses, because you don't even know the half of it yet. We are going to apply to podcasts for you. So you'll be getting booked on podcasts. We're going to apply to speaking gigs for you when they come back, which they will come back, by the way, unless you're one of those nut job 5G Bill Gates pedophile ring conspiracy theorists who thinks that this is it. Guys, get a grip, please, with that. Unless you're one of them, you know that things are going to come back to normal. Or even a new normal, which might possibly be even better. But the point is, it's not going to be like this forever, right? And so speaking gigs will come back. So we're going to help you with those. We're going to apply to speaking gigs for you as well. So now you've got the machine that from one piece of content is putting you everywhere. You are present on every platform. We're optimizing channels for you. Now we're also finding you podcast interviews, and we're finding you speaking interviews, speaking slots. You might think to yourself at this point, wow, that's awesome, right? That might be the point where you go, oh, he's totally outdone everyone else. This is something that is just crazy. It gets better. We're going to, and I love this. Okay, this is how I've been describing this next bit. If you've ever test driven a luxury car or own a luxury car, you get into the base model. Hey, Dan, yes, making the magic happen, my friend. So like you drive the Audi A4 or the A6 and you go, wow, this is really nice. And then you get into the A8 and you go, oh, I get it. Those were really nice. This is just, and so a couple of these next things I'm going to tell you about are sort of the difference between the regular steering wheel and the heated steering wheel with the hand-stitched leather. You get what I'm saying? It's the difference between the regular shifter and the Swarovski crystal shifter. Okay. We're going to do sponsorship outreach for you as part of this program. So what does that mean? That means we're going to be sending out emails and outreach on your behalf to land you sponsors. We're going to help you with boosting your content to grow your audience. This is going to take the amount of eyes that you have on you now and explode it by an order of magnitude of 10 or 100. We're going to do press releases for you. We're going to help you with your blogs. And sometimes here I'm saying for you, and I may mean with you. It's really going to depend as we get into the process. There's not a way to do this completely done for you. You will need to participate in the process. We're going to do press releases for you or with you. We're going to help you with blog formatting and how to leverage blogs. What else? We're going to reach out to radio stations on your behalf and television stations on your behalf. Are you starting to see what I'm talking about here? So podcasts, speaking gigs, TV, radio. What else? What else did I say? There's one more. Publications. Publications. Yeah, we're going to be reaching out to publications on your behalf as well. Do you get it now? Do you see how I am so not screwing around? The people who get into this program, it's inevitable that it will change everything. It's inevitable that it will boost you up more than one level in your business. It's inevitable that it will change the game for you. We're going to figure out Dan says, do you view this as essentially an automated, partially automated PR company? That's a great question. Here's how I view it, Dan. And we're at the beginning stages here, so it's hard to say for sure, but I view it as dwarfing the typical PR service or firm. Now, I say that without knowing if a typical PR firm manages and optimizes your social media for you. Typically, the PR that I've talked to and I've interacted with, they like one thing or maybe two things. And by things, I mean channels, right? So PR firms that work with TV, PR firms that work with radio and podcast, that kind of thing. What we're going to be doing is less about, sort of like showing up on the red carpet and schmoozing a deal like Ari from Entourage. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be like a deliberate, consistent, steady outreach to all of these outlets and places for you. Knowing that if we're consistent and if we're steady, you're going to get invited onto radio shows, TV shows. You're going to get invited onto podcasts. You're going to get invited to speak. You're going to get featured in publications. All of those things are just a matter of following through with it. So this is where most people can't manage all that it takes to grow themselves into a true celebrity level brand, right? You just don't have the time. You don't have the bandwidth. You don't have the ability. You don't have the know-how. And you would never be able to do anything else besides this. So this is what I want you, Dan, that's my answer to your question. And this is what I want you guys to understand. This is like cloning yourself 10 times over and having just a powerhouse system working on your behalf to grow your authority, to grow your awareness, to raise your game level. That's what this is. So, any questions? I thought so. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. Syndication Engine is going to be revolutionary. I don't know anyone who's doing this. In fact, I don't think there's anyone who's doing this. And if you are at the level where you hire service providers to take care of pieces of this for you, you know that it is overwhelming to try to manage everything. So you might have one assistant doing podcasts for you and one team doing social media for you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You spend so much time, energy, and bandwidth, particularly energy and bandwidth, just trying to sort of reconcile everything that's happening. And it's all going to be under one roof. It's all going to be under one roof for you. So that's what it is. That's what's coming out. That's my big idea. That's what I was waiting for. And this is going to change the landscape. So I'm pretty excited about it. Now, can you just raise your hand and say, I'd like to know more? You can, but it ain't for everybody. You can, but it ain't for everybody. So if you want to know more about it, by all means, send me a private message. Best that you don't raise your hand here in the conversation. I might miss it. Send me a private message and, be specific about what you're talking about. I get a lot of private messages. So if you'd like to know more, and by the way, we are offering a beta. Let's be super clear here. The beta won't last forever, and it's not free. However, for what you get, the investment, which I haven't even decided on yet, is going to be ludicrously low. It's going to be basically what it's going to be for me is a capital raising round. I will almost assuredly wind up operating at a loss over time on the beta, but that's okay because I want an injection of cash to push the project forward. So if you'd like to be part of the beta team, then reach out to me and just simply say, I'd like to be part of the beta team. And remember, we're going to do everything that we just talked about. Is it all ready to go right now? Can I press the go button right now? No. Very soon, though. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to get in the door while the beta is open and participate as a beta member in a give and take to help me refine this thing and make it par excellence. Make it something that nobody else has anything that can even compete with it. And in return, I will give you hundreds of thousands of eyes on your content. I will drive so many people to whatever it is you do. You won't be able to keep up with them all. You're going to need a bigger team. As Roy Scheider said in Jaws, we're going to need a bigger boat. So if that sounds good, then reach out to me. And hey, if it doesn't, if you don't, if for any reason this isn't for you, that's so cool. That's totally cool. I don't want you, if you have any suspicions or second, doubts or whatever, that's fine. If you have genuine questions, bring them aboard. Let's talk. Reach out to me in private, in Messenger. Let's talk about it. I have not consulted with the team yet. I don't know how many beta members I'll even take. Realistically, probably no more than 6, might even be 5. I don't know yet. Not false scarcity, just need to be able to deliver at the highest level I can and we can for everyone, every beta member. Need to have lots of communication with every beta member, right? I need to really do this thing the right way so that I can revolutionize this space. Okay, that's it, kids. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow.